It's a big birthday today. It is 050, or just 50 to ordinary commoners. This is edition number 50, half a century of the Comedy Slab. I'm Adrian, and I'm in the deep southeast. He is cackling in the frozen Midlands. Not so frozen, actually, this time of year. But come in, please, Mr. Shane.
Do you know, I was going to sing the Happy Birthday tune, but I forgot they collect
Which
royalties
one?
on it now, don't they? So I could,
yeah, they do.
I could sing it. We bought my son a bear from the. Have you seen the Bear Factory where you make up the bears and they put little hearts?
I thought you meant a factory where everyone is bear.
Have you seen the Bear Factory? Have you seen?
No. Is that where people come away with a paper bag saying, I made my own bear?
That's it, yeah.
Right, okay.
But you can have various things put in them. One of the things that he's got is a heartbeat, which is a bit freaky, really, because you're never going to throw that away, are you? Who's going to throw a toy away with a heartbeat? But the other thing he's got is, because he's a birthday bear, he actually sings Happy Birthday.
Oh.
But he doesn't sing he sings, from the birthday bear, happy birthday to you.
The nearly happy birthday song.
Do you want me to sing
copyright?
Do you want me to sing the rest?
No, because that's now copyright, and we're in as much doo-doo as we would have been with the other happy birthday.
No, I think it must be. They must have had the rights bought out on that one, because my son plays it all the while and he hasn't paid a penny.
Yeah, but you paid for the bear, and you paid through the nose, mate.
It was £1.
He was robbed.
It was £1. Or
yeah, 99p of that is royalty.
Basically, if you go within a couple of weeks of their first birthday, they give you a bear for £1.
You're speaking to me as if I've got a bevy of children like what you have.
Well,
and my loins are barren.
Do
not forget.
There's time yet.
There's no more barren loins around here than mine.
I bought some of those from the butchers the other day. Give us £2 of barren loins, will you please?
And half a packet of barren nights as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, we digress. We should say there is lots of sweary Mary in today's show. Most of it not from us, although you never know, because once you've got an e-cert, you might as well make use of it.
Why don't you just edit the clips like I do and do it properly?
Because I'm lazy.
Okay.
Adrian Lazy at your service.
At least we cleared that up.
Well, the thing is, there's so many swearies that it's like nothing we've ever slabbed before.
It is a very sweary programme. Although, I was going to say, at least we know where we stand, but he's so lazy, he doesn't even stand. He's having to lie down. That's how lazy you are. Yeah, it is very sweary, isn't it? Do you want to tell everybody what it is that we reviewed?
I think it's high time, yes. Show Don't Tell. We will be playing 3 audio clips from it in a little while. It is Year of the Rabbit. It is not about rabbits as we know them, but it is Matt Berry as Victorian booze hound, to quote the phrase from the show itself, the PR. You may know him previously as Toast of London, the crusty actor, darling. And I'd have to say, because I'm not allowed to get your headline just yet, I set the homework. So the deal is we alternate each week in setting homework, and we review a different week, be it TV, radio, or podcast, comedy. And it was my turn to set it at the end of last week's show. So here we are today. I am trying to make the case for the show. And not that we actually always necessarily like what we set up on the slab, because we're perverse old fools, aren't we? But it happened to be the case that I was fairly confident I'd be amused by this, because I have enjoyed Toast of London. And if I were to be allowed to have am I allowed a headline at this stage, or is it too early?
Of course you can. We can do anything we want, can't we? That's the beauty of this, is that if I wanted to go, I could.
Well, you do that, but I'm going to cut it out because I'm editing this week. So
that's going to sound weird, isn't it? So
understand what? It's going to be a gap. There'll be a short pause, or will there? Is it a double bluff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Go on. What would your headline be then?
It would be. I had it earlier, but I've forgotten it. It's something along the lines of Year of the Toast. No, it was going to be Rabbit of London. No, it was going to be something like
Welsh Rabbit.
I've forgotten. No, it doesn't
God,
work.
this works a lot better in rehearsals, I've got to say.
It did. I have to say. I tell you what, I'll put out the rehearsal instead.
Okay.
Yeah, it was more coherent a couple of gins ago. No, Toast becomes a detective. In other words, the point I'm trying to make is Matt Berry is Matt Berry, whichever package you put him in. And if you love Matt Berry, don't slap your slaphead. It's undignified. We can see each other on Skype, but fortunately for you, you can't see us. But I would say it is Matt Berry being Matt Berry, or I don't know any other Matt Berry. I actually think he probably has got a wider palette, but, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing.
I was trying to think back to all the other stuff he's been in. He was in Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's not a very prominent role, as I recall, was it?
Well, he was one of the ensemble, which if you wanted to see what we made of that, you can go back to episode 20 of the Comedy Slab and find that one. The only thing I saw him in, Adrian, that I never really warmed to him, and I never really warmed to the programme at all, was Snuffbox. Have you seen that? Did you ever catch him in that?
No, that sounds like a barrel of filth from the outset.
It's, what's his name? Fulcher, Rich Fulcher, the American. I don't know if you...
Not Rich Hall.
I don't know if you've seen him at all. He was in The Mighty Boosh. And they did like a double-headed thing. I think they were working together at one stage, and they did that. It didn't really fly for me, that one. But that, like, he's been in the IT Crowd. He's been,
but playing different types of characters. Is that your point?
Not really. I think. I was just thinking when you said about, he kind of plays himself. The IT Crowd, Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, House of Fools with Vic and Bob. Pretty much the Toast of London. Pretty much the same, but like you say, it is a great character to play, isn't it? Really, him.
I think so, and obviously, because they're so similar. If you like one, you will like them all. I think that's the guarantee. But the reverse sadly applies. If you don't like one, it's quite likely that you won't get in with any of them.
Yeah, that is the difficulty with this. I mean, I'm guessing. I mean, neither of us has seen this. This is a kind of newish series, and I'm guessing we both come to this. With the same, having neither of us having seen it, and we both come away thinking that it was something that worked.
Well, are you making me tease out of you prematurely just so you can tell me off?
Well,
for me it did. It's a romp. For me, actually, I was trying to think how to sum it up, and I can do it in one word: panto.
Right. Okay.
I think it's like a pantomime, but it is a sweary merry pantomime, and. If you get in with it, I mean, it's set in Victorian London, but really, I'd say it's the Sweeney with a few Victorian bustles thrown in for good measure.
Do you know what it reminded me of? It's the Sweeney crossed with Bleak Expectations.
That's a good way of saying it.
Because
why didn't I think of that? And why didn't you say it in rehearsal so I could nick it now and pass it off as mine?
I never even thought. Next time I'll send you a postcard. I never. And again, that's some Bleak Expectations is one that we looked at in episode 30 of the Comedy Slab podcast. But
hey, look, spooky. These are all big birthdays. Episode 20, episode 30. We're on episode 50.
But yeah, I mean, the writing is as sharp, isn't it, as well? I mean, one of the things I always have liked about Bleak Expectations is very sharp writing. And interestingly, Matt Berry adds to the material. I think I can pick out the bits that Matt Berry has added, but they're all too rude for me to actually repeat now. So
I wouldn't put anything past you.
In that way, though, you kind of think I know the bits that he put in. Great behind the scenes and behind the cameras. People involved in this as well, isn't it? I mean, starting with the writers, Kevin Cecil and Andy Riley.
You're going to tell me, I hope.
Well, if I tell you they've written as jobbing writers, they're both written for Tracy Ullman, who I'm not. I've got to be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of Tracy Ullman, but very popular. Harry and Paul, Harry Enfield and Paul Whitehouse, and Kevin Cecil also wrote for a sitcom called Bluestone 42, which was it was like an army sitcom, which might have escaped your attention because I think it was made by BBC Scotland.
Right.
But yeah, they've got, I mean, they're not coming to this fresh by any stretch of the imagination, these guys. And they wrote the film, that hit movie as well. Is it Romeo and Juliet? Is it that big kids thing that it's got all famous people doing the voices for it? And
okay. And Armstrong and Miller, got a lot of time for that. The Channel 4 show.
Yeah, I mean, so they've got a really great. I mean, so you start off. I mean, this is we were talking about last week, weren't we? About starting off with known quantities, and you start off with a pair of writers there who you go, right, these guys have got a track record that stands on its own. So presumably you're off to a winner before you even start on. I guess. I mean, if you wanted to do it properly, that's what you'd do, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's a question of being in safe hands. I think actually it's BBC Armstrong and Miller as opposed to the Beeb took them on from Channel 4, if I've got my years right.
Right.
But anyway, either way, yes, they've got their writing chops, as we're bound to say. Romeo and Juliet sadly passed me by, but then lots of things do.
I think it's a kids thing, so I'll forgive you for that one anyway. But
okay. Smack the Pony, that wasn't an order, that was a show, as you know, with the lovely Sally Phillips.
And so they're gag writers. I mean, to me, when you look at like they've been writing for Tracy Ullman, Harry and Paul, and those kind of they're gag writers, aren't they? Used to writing snappy gags, and to me that the overall thing that I came away with was the pace of it. It was really well paced, but there wasn't a bit that was wasted. There wasn't a scene that I thought, oh, they're just filling this now. This is just a filler, we're having a bit of an amble through whatever. Did you get that sense of there was a sense of we've got enough material to fill this period of time and we're going to go at it?
Absolutely. And lest people accuse us of filling, we really ought to play audio clip number 1 of 3. And these, not surprisingly, come in story order, in show order, just not to confuse us further or confuse my tired brain. And we have the wonderful Alan Armstrong, who, if you don't know him by name, I think you'll know him by voice, playing the crusty copper Hugh Wisbech. And he's reading out, and it really is, as we've warned you, it's not something you'll hear your vicar reading in the sermon. Some of the language here. This is a reaction to Rabbit's MO, I suppose, modus operandi, read out by Hugh Wisbech, played, as I say, by Alan Armstrong.
Your visit yesterday really inspired me. When I grow up, I want to kick wrong uns in the bollocks, then string the wankers up. Signed Lily, aged 9. Hi.
Just working together for a safer city.
You made me look a proper tit. Remember who wipes your ass. In you come, lad.
Who the fuck is that?
I need you to play the game, Rabbit, so you're getting a partner.
Sergeant Strauss. Delighted to meet you, sir.
I bet you are, boy. I don't want a partner.
He's from Cambridge. Top of his year in criminology.
Full disclosure, I also came bottom. It's a brand new course, you see, and I was the only one in the class.
You got something on your shirt.
Have I? Oh.
Even fell for that old cack.
I want you to stick to this, boy, like shit to a blanket, or you're out on the cobbles.
Father, you forgot your sandwiches, and did I get the job?
Mabel, darling, a woman can't be police.
When you adopted me, you said you wanted the best for me.
I was mainly talking about hats.
I mean, it's just great gag writing, isn't it? Oh, you wanted the best of me. I was mainly talking about hats. It's the... Do you know, they play the Victorian humour card exquisitely, I think. I mean, there's no... you don't think, oh, it's a bit groany or whatever. It's a bit sort of hackneyed. I just think the Victorian stuff is great. Freddie Fox. Why have I not heard of him before?
Yes, I might say the same.
He plays Sergeant Strauss. Sorry, I should say.
He's obviously posh totty.
Yeah, he's just got this real posh bloke's expression on his face in every scene. All
Maybe
the while.
He's posh. Yeah. Maybe that's why.
I looked at him. He hasn't done an awful lot, had he? Really? I mean, I don't know for how long he's been acting, and then there's been big gaps. I'm guessing he's a big theatre guy, is he? I don't know. That's the annoying thing about the internet is that if they drop out of TV, it's like they drop off the face of the earth, isn't it?
Do we think there must be an IMDb, Internet Movie Database for theatre? Internet theatre database, ITDB.
God, that took you a while to put that in there, didn't it?
It did, didn't it?
I mean, that took you just way too long to put that in there. I'd go and see a
I'm
neurologist
sorry.
if you can.
Well, I've got a mate who is, but that's another story. Remind me to plug my own solo production later.
He wants
Now
his
you
head
prompted
looking
me.
at.
Hey! That's my hat maker saying that. Well, I mean, our posh totty, Freddie Fox. I mean, what a name.
Yeah.
Is he part of the Fox dynasty?
I don't think so. Not that I could fathom, but...
Because they're quite posh, aren't they? And there's loads of actors there. Anyway, he's only 30, poor lad, so, give him time.
inspired
He's
casting,
still
though,
got
don't you think? I mean, against them.
Oh, yeah.
And they've made Matt Berry very gnarled and, he had his eyebrow chewed off and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And it kind of... The juxtaposition of the two, for me, kind of worked really well,
Yes, I mean, they're kind of sparring partners, aren't they? And it's a bounce off each other, to use a phrase. Yeah, so that works.
The other thing as well, I was saying about the writing, that scene goes on to talk about that his daughter wants to be the first female copper or flopper, or bacon dolly or femiplod, as they...
I had to rewind to hear Femiplod. Almost to answer your question, it's almost too rammed with gags, and they're delivering it a bit too quickly.
Do you think? Yeah,
again,
do you
that's
think
my
so?
tired brain.
There's too many gags in it.
No, I mean that would be a silly complaint. No, it's just my brain couldn't keep up. But I have been up one of those long days again. Enough whinging, but no, it's a nice problem to have.
And in terms of the filming and the visuals of it as well, what do you think of that? I mean, it was filmed your neck of the woods, wasn't it? Actually,
yeah, some of it filmed in Chatham. I'm assuming at the Chatham Dockyard.
yeah. Is that a big thing? I think a lot of stuff's filmed there, isn't it? Do they use that a lot then?
Yes, it's become quite a noted and favoured film and TV set. You've got Call the Midwife. Call the Midwife is shot there. I don't know if that... I'm suspecting that's not your cup of tea any more than it is mine.
No.
But
I'd like to see
it's just so beautifully preserved. Unlike you, it's beautifully preserved. Yes, I bet you would. But we've talked before, have we not, about the ropery. It's the longest room in England because they had to make... They made the ropes, as it were, full length. You can't sort of wind them around while you're making... I'm not making it very clear. But anyway, you have to have... whatever length of rope you want, you've got to have that length of room.
I remember having that conversation, but I
technology
can't think for the life of me why we would have it.
I think it's because it was another location for another show we slabbed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can say it like that in your aloof, superior way, but it is true.
Aloof and superior. I was just going. That was my mesmerised way.
Oh, was it? Right.
Okay.
Well, I don't want to see you're aloof and superior then. You're aloof, but the country doesn't need any more loofs, unfortunately.
Tell me, because it also features, I think, the brilliant Paul Kay, and I couldn't, as I was watching it, I'm thinking, the only thing I could think of was Zapped when we
Dennis Pennis is what you're trying to remember.
When we slabbed Zapped. No, I'm trying to think whether you liked him or not. That was back in episode 23.
Oh, I love him to bits, yeah. But he disappeared off the radar for a bit, and then he's come back, I think, stronger than ever. Yeah.
He, like you say, Dennis Pennis, he used to do this character-based kind of stuff, and then for some reason, I almost feel like he stumbled into acting. But you're right. I think this is his strength, isn't it? Don't you think?
I think so. Yeah, I think he's hit his stride, found his niche, whatever, and he's looking younger than ever, which is not fair, because for the rest of us mortals, it goes in the opposite direction. But yeah, and I think, was he not a stand-up in the early days? I've never seen him as a stand-up, but I had a feeling that's his background.
I can't remember. I remember. I mean, the Dennis Pennis thing was when it was live. It was quite sensational, wasn't it? He used to go on the red carpet, didn't he, and harass.
Well, I remember him harass Hollywood legends.
Yeah.
I remember him going up to Demi Moore and saying, did he have a sort of cold American accent? in that character?
I think he
role?
did, yeah, Dennis
Yeah, I
Bennett
think
did, yeah.
I think he said to her, can I ask you, pardon me, ma'am, can I ask you that, if the plot ever demanded it and if it was really necessary and the director insisted on it, would you ever keep your clothes on?
Yeah. Yeah, and that was like kind of the stuff that he did, wasn't it? And I remember it being massive at the time, but as you say, then it just, I don't know, fizzled. Strange that, really.
Yeah. Well, he's unfizzled. He was also in the wonderful, which one is it? Modern Toss, with the working class astronauts who don't like each other in. Do you know that one?
No, I could never get into that. I must admit.
You try again, for goodness sakes.
I've tried.
He's one of the voices.
Yeah, I didn't.
Try again. Try and try again.
Try again. But when you tell me the astronaut, the astronaut one, I quite like it.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Many a time.
They have an argument over whose lager's in the fridge. They're not taking this astronaut stuff too seriously. That's my lager in the fridge. Get off.
Oh, dear. Should we have another clip?
I think it's high time. Hang on. Consults paperwork. Oh, yes. We have moved through the plot, of course. We have a murder. Not altogether surprising, considering it's a cop show from the Victorian era, and our man Rabbit, aka Matt Berry, of course, is trying to put the clues together. Oh, got to say a big shout out, as the kids say these days, for Susan Wacoma as Mabel Wisbech.
Yeah,
the adopted daughter, as we were hearing, I think, in clip 1. Of Hugh, the boss man. She's just a delight. Born in Southwark to, I think, Nigerian parents. Fantastic talent. We need more of her, please. So we'll hear her here trying to muscle in on the act. This is clip number 2.
I know what that is. It's one of those little round things for the ladies' toilet money.
A compact for makeup.
Compact for makeup.
This symbol could be a clue.
Doubt it.
Don't mind me having it then. That's mine.
It's police evidence now. Bugger off.
I'm buggering nowhere.
What time does that library open, boy? We should go and find out what this symbol means.
If anyone's going to the library, it's me.
Just you try.
Just you try and stop me.
We didn't stop her.
I know. I was mugging her off.
Of course you were.
We, my boy, are off to the slums.
The what?
That rancid shit pit, syphilitic crap hole known as a house.
Fantastic.
Alarm! Fire alarm!
This place is extraordinary. Does it always smell like this?
And again, it's the pace of the dialogue that, for me, makes it. I mean, it's almost like the kind of the backwards and forwards, the banter, isn't it? And the way that they tricked her into doing that. I did wonder whether they thought, "Oh, I've got to put a woman in just to for equality." I mean, fortunately, she's a great actress and quite funny and can hold her own. If it is a tokenism thing. Talking of which, I think I've hit on something. Because this program is made by a company called Objective Media, who again have a gender imbalance on their top table.
Oh, here we go.
They have
recurring theme.
26 staff.
Okay, go ahead.
That they list on their website. 17 are women and only 9 are men.
Just like the worm has turned, isn't it? The two Ronnies.
And it's owned by a company called All 3 Media, and they have 7 on their board of directors, 6 are women, and 1's a man.
It's oppression. That's what it is.
I just
you and I locked out.
All this guff about people saying about, women, they don't get the opportunities and all that. So, well, quite clearly, in media, they're overly represented. I mean, that's...
Well, no,
what's that?
You've produced 2 bits of evidence. That's not quite clear.
No, not 2 bits, because that's Objective Media, All 3 Media, Sisters Pictures, Kudos. They've all got a massive gender imbalance on their top table. I bet it doesn't make up for the overall gender imbalance the other way. Well, if you can imagine, if you then look at the picture in places like the BBC and Channel 4 where they're obsessed with it, I don't...
Oh, yeah, when did we ever have a female Director General of the BBC?
Everybody just accepts that, this is the case because somebody said it. I just think, I don't know, I might be able to cue you of your feminism, the way things are going. When you're sat at home and you can't
very
work,
much doubt it.
Because they go, sorry, mate, you're a man, you can't come in today. As
they only said this morning. I said, I'll go back to bed then.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. It's funny now, but in the future, when you can't, what are you going to do?
Well, guess what? They're going to look at my record and find I haven't been mouthing off against women, and they might say, "Do you know what? We could probably work with you."
Oh, I see. So you
that's how
the
it
fear,
works.
is it? That you? Oh, I get it now. I see how it works now. Yeah.
Oh, I've always been afraid of women.
They'll go, you've got a very fruity mouth for a lady.
Yeah, I did find myself saying the other day, to much mirth, may I say, in the office, when a woman had been effing and jeffing next to me. I shan't say which programme it was. It's an A programme. I said, "Do you mind? There are gentlemen present." It got a big laugh.
Oh, nice.
But that's how the worm has turned, to coin that phrase again.
Now you'll say, "Watch your sauce box."
Something like that.
No, I think it's fine. I'm going to start doing this now and having a look, and I just keep a record of it. And then for the next person that says to me, "Oh, poor old women aren't represented," I say, "No, actually, you're wrong because the figures don't bear it out. It's a load of old tosh. It's a lie."
What we need is more brumes on the board.
That's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting. I find it fascinating. I do that the facts don't bear out the anecdotes, but there you go.
Okay, for next week, tot up the entire boards of all companies in the media.
See, if it was the other way around, though, you wouldn't make a joke about it, would you? You'd go, "Oh, it's disgusting."
But it isn't the other way round. That's the point.
It isn't the other way round. There's four companies straight off the bat with it just like randomly picked as a random sample.
Let's celebrate it. I don't feel threatened. There's enough jobs out there.
Okay.
It's a golden age of comedy.
Okay. You'll see.
You'll see. You don't come running to me.
6 to 1 on a board. I think he's like, if it's the other way around, people would be like, "Oh my God."
But it is the other way round. That is the point.
It's not the other way round.
You
show me where it's the other way
round. Maybe
round.
not. No, maybe the media is ahead of the pack. That's fine.
Well, no, it's selectivism by women, isn't it? Because they, like you say, you never hear women saying, "Well, there's not enough bricklayers. We should get out there and start laying bricks." Or there's not enough oil field workers. They're not really interested in doing that. It's just the one jobs they want to do is the problem.
If you want to go down that route, I'd be with you in that we need more diversity everywhere.
We don't
across the board, and that includes
diversity. We need a meritocracy. That's what we need. We need people who can do the job, not people who
and if you're not given a chance to do the job,
that's what I think.
You can't prove yourself. That's the point.
No, I've always been an egalitarian. Me. David Dawson.
I'm glad to know you're a communist at last.
No, I'm not a communist. I'm an egalitarian. David Dawson was inspired as well, wasn't he? By the Elephant Man pitched up halfway through this, which I was not expecting at all.
I mean, spoiler alert, but absolutely fantastic. And beautiful, we would have to say, prosthetics. Hats off.
For a TV show, you got to say they've come a long way, haven't they, really? Because like normally TV was synonymous with, quicker... And I don't mean this in a nasty way, but quicker, cheaper,
wobbly sets,
getting it done kind of thing. But oh man, they go to see John Merrick, don't they, at one stage? And again, he's another actor. I think David Dawson. I was having a look at the stuff he'd done. I didn't recognise him. Did you recognise him from anything previously, or?
Well, not with the prosthetics on the Elephant Man
he
head.
Just like the Elephant Man.
Is that? He did actually. I thought it was John Hurt for a moment, and then I thought, hang on, he's not still alive, sadly.
No, John Merrick. John Hurt's. Is someone Hurt dead as well?
John Hurt's died. You must have blinked and missed that. Yeah, I'm sorry to say.
I never know who's dead and who isn't.
Well, I'd like to be in the kingdom of the living, but there's precious little evidence.
Yeah.
So tell me, what's David Dawson been up to? He's a handsome chap.
I don't know. Do you know what? I just looked at the stuff and I thought I didn't really pick him out of anything of those. But as I say, I just thought he was inspired. I mean, he was. His delivery of the dialogue and the way he got into characterization of John Merrick, and I don't know, it was just genius for me, really.
Yeah, fantastic. Hopefully a long and illustrious career beckons for him as well. I'd have any of them on my in my panto or whatever else I was casting.
Do you think panto, really? That's a bit harsh, isn't it?
No, it's not meant to be harsh at all. I've got a lot of time for it. It's a great British cultural tradition. Of course, there's bad pantos, but I'm talking about a good panto here. I just mean that sort of energy and bit of slapstick and fun, fun.
What did you make of that punch me in the chest, me jam tart stopped?
We don't want to give all the gags away, but yeah, that was nice. It came back again one more time. This is our hero, Rabbit. Yes, his heart stops mid chase. And of course, he doesn't flop to the floor because that would be too realistic. He just freezes like something out of Police Squad or something, Police Academy, whatever it is.
Yeah.
No, I enjoyed that. I could have even worn a third. I thought that was going to run to a third time. I don't think it did.
No, it was just the twice
nightly.
Yeah, twice, wasn't it? Yeah. And again, I mean, I never got the impression that they were overusing material. You know, kind of, just stick that gag in again then because we've got a few more seconds to kill or whatever. It never gave me that impression that it was like running on empty at all. It'd be interesting to see. You haven't watched any of the other episodes, have you?
I haven't, and I see, talking of Smack the Pony, which again is not a euphemism, Sally Phillips appears in one of these, and presumably one I haven't seen.
Yeah, a bit later
Princess Juliana of Bulgaria. So for her alone, I would watch another episode.
She again, I mean, she does that. I'm guessing her character is going to be similar to, remember the character she played in Veep? Did you ever see her in that?
Well, we've slabbed Veep, but whether she was in that one, I can't recall.
That was the first thing we slabbed, actually. No, I don't think it was. I think I'm right in saying she's played something like the Swedish ambassador or the Norwegian ambassador.
Right.
But again, very, very sort of show-stealing performance in that sense. You kind of think, it's, you want to see more. I don't know how she ended up being in it, but she kind of like wants to have a friendly relationship with I can't remember the main character in Veep. Oh god, my mind's gone blank. What's her name? The main Selena Meyer.
Right.
And she kind of wants to be her mate, but she's like keeping her at arm's length kind of thing. And it's that like relationship. It's just like really funny the way that it all works. But she just plays it perfectly, really. So I'm just guessing, she does foreign good. I think that's the way to describe it.
She does loads of things good. Yeah. Are we on to clip number 3? Do you think?
Yeah.
If that's not premature, hang on. I've learnt all of this. It says music. That's all I've written. Oh, yeah. What did you think of the music before we hear an example thereof?
Loved it so much so. I mean, I looked it up. I mean, Matt Berry did the title music, didn't you? Did you catch that?
Oh, yeah. That's the thing. And did he do some of the music for Toast or something? No, I'm confusing him completely. Do you know what? I had a flashback then to Bill Hicks doing his own guitar work. That's going back a bit because he died, poor fella, in 1993 or something.
Yeah.
Wrong medication today. Try me anyway. Yeah. So, what were the results of your music researches?
I looked the guys. I don't think I wrote it down in my notes actually, but I looked the guys up just to see what they did. They've worked together quite a few times. The two guys that scored it. But I thought, do you know, I quite like that. This is quite in vogue at the moment, isn't it? This it's a very percussive soundtrack, isn't it? It's like a lot of kind of drum and percussion sounds rather than music. But it kind of, like when you're chasing around Victorian London, I mean, it just works so well, doesn't it, really?
My theory is, it does work. By keeping it mainly percussive, it doesn't kind of jar with the era, does it?
No.
If you put an electric guitar in, then you're obviously saying, and you could get away with that, obviously, in a comedy. I think Zapped was a bit more rocky or beaty, as they used to say on Radio 2.
Although you never liked that, did you? You didn't like Zapped at all. You didn't.
Oh, you've remembered what? The whole show or the music of the show?
Well, I just remember you not liking it at all.
I didn't rate the show, but that possibly doesn't mean I didn't like the music.
Right.
I rarely dislike music. I just like more music everywhere, really.
You're right. I never thought of that though. That whole, if you choose music, I got a mate who writes music for all. I was just looking at what he'd done recently, some of his credits, and I can't. The thing that always gets me is how do you hear it? How do you sit down and you watch the pictures? Presumably, I mean, I guess that's what they do. And then how do you hear what? I think, that would work well. Do you see?
Well, I suspect you'd you'd start really with a briefing from the director who would have chosen you in the first place, director stroke producer. So I'm sure they're going to. Oh, it depends. It would be different. Some directors would be very hands-on, almost to the point of virtually writing the dots, the notes down. Others would say, well, you're the professional, the old phrase, you don't buy a dog and then bark yourself, so do what you want. I'd love to do that. I was thinking only today, I'd love to work more with music generally, but no, basically you've got to support the show, and that's your job, isn't it? Support the action, don't fight it, and it's whatever works to support what's going on, the drama of it.
I mean, whenever I've tried it, I always find that it's the transition between when you write it on kazoo and then like a full orchestra does it. It never sounds the same as what you've envisaged.
I write it for a whole orchestra of kazoos. I think mine is the only orchestra made up entirely of 100 kazoo players. It's quality, mate, quality. That's the trick you missed.
What do you call a collective? What's a collective name for kazoos?
I'm a kazoo. Well, how do you do? No, that's another thing. I don't know. Don't ask me awkward questions. Anyway, so all I've written down is music, but eventually the music gives way to some action. I should say, if it's not already obvious and if we haven't already blown the gaff, there's very definitely a spoiler in this next clip. I suppose, ideally I wouldn't have done it, but I've actually left a little bit of a cliffhanger at the end. And it's such a romp, I kind of think it's forgivable. We could tell you every bit of the story, you would still enjoy the show, in my view.
You're right.
Shall we go for it? So, enjoy the music, make what you will of the rhythm.
You keep running.
Show yourself, Lindley, or make a noise by mistake.
I think I found him, sir.
Drop it. I want passage to South America. Don't be a fool, Lindley.
Yeah, come on, Lindley, don't be a
If I'm a lady.
You watch your gob.
I didn't want to kill Edith. I fell in love with her at the cabaret. Gave her love tokens. She could do anything. Bored housewife, naughty housewife. I proposed, but so did the vicar. We fought a duel for her hand. She tried to stop us.
Bloody man.
We threw the body in the Thames, but I couldn't trust the vicar to keep his mouth shut.
It's over, Lindley.
She's right.
I will not be arrested by a woman.
I'm arresting you, and I won't tell you again, you posh cock. Drop it.
And if I don't?
Again, casting Angus Wright as Sir Giles Linley. Just
well posh.
Just brilliant, wasn't he? Just really, really brilliant. I thought it was just bang on in terms of getting the right faces into the right roles in this. I just really, really clever stuff. I kind of got the impression that, again, as I was saying, that Matt Berry had a hand in adding material to this, and had a little hand in the writing. I don't know how closely involved he is in the idea, but he gives me the impression that he's really bought into the concept.
Well, he's one of the executive producers, which always helps. Again, you could argue that either way, which comes first. But yeah, I mean, it's almost like an authorship thing, isn't it? It's so much him. It's built around him, and that's fine by me.
The interesting thing, I was looking through some of the other credits as well. The producer Hannah Mackay, or Mackay, depending on how she pronounces it, has and again, fabulous track record. Fresh Meat, Peep Show, Toast. She's worked on, but interestingly, like she's the producer on this show. But interestingly, she was on Fresh Meat and on Toast. She was the script editor. And I just wonder, if you've got a lot of people, you've got two writers, you've got Matt Berry throwing stuff in there, and I'm guessing that the other actors would have kind of, had a bit of fun with it as well. And then you've got a producer who's a script editor or has got script editing experience. Maybe that's why you end up with such a tight set of dialogue that kind of, goes rushing along at an incredible pace. Maybe that's, again, it was like the director, Ben Taylor, has worked on Catastrophe, Cardinal Burns, the first series of Cuckoo. they're all really well experienced people that are doing this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, although there has to be a chemistry, doesn't there? Because otherwise, you've almost got. If it went wrong, if they didn't like each other and give way to each other for the greater good, as it were, you could have an almighty clash of big brains, couldn't you?
Yeah.
And that could go very wrong. Apparently, the worst team you can put together is a load of leaders. You might think, oh, wow, this will be the most well-led team ever. And no, they all fight for first place and never get anything done. What you need is team players in a team, funnily enough, including a leader, of course. But yeah, so I would say rapport and chemistry are a big part of it. We should say before we forget, if we haven't already, it went out on Channel 4, and so it's on all 4. I think last time I looked, it's not on forever, unfortunately.
I was thinking all 4. Sounds like awful.
So maybe I mispronounced it.
No, I just think do you think somebody would have at a meeting when they're deciding what we're going to call this channel then? Call it All 4. What did you say? You call it Awful? No.
You're out, mate.
Do you know what I mean? It's like you think, oh, okay, maybe it's me.
Yeah, but then wouldn't that be Channel 4 chic just to say, I know, couldn't we kind of undersell ourselves and call ourselves awful? Yeah. And then we'd be the complete opposite, right?
Yeah. What is it? Under promise and over deliver?
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. At least no one would accuse you of over promising and under delivering.
We'll
leave that to politicians.
Call the channel awful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Right. Is it that time where we try and rate the show out of 5 stars each?
Yeah. Oh, can I just mention as well? I don't know if you noticed, and I thought, that's curious. Because we look at the credits and we look to see who played what and all the rest of it. Did you notice it was just a list of names, the actors? They didn't actually allocate who played what.
Oh no, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
What do you think's behind that? At least there would be more room for them on screen. These things get so tiny, even with freeze framing, you might struggle. Certainly on some devices.
I don't know.
Screens.
I don't know. I was trying to think why you would want to do that, or what. It just had like a list of the actors' names. They didn't have the character names on there at all. I don't know. I don't know why they would do that. Maybe just to be different.
I suppose it. Yeah, I remember. Got to be a good 20 years ago that Blazing a Trail, Chris Morris, one of his either Jam or Blue Jam. Was it Jam when it was on telly and Blue Jam on the radio? The telly one. It was the first of its type, and I wondered whether the whole world was going to move this way, because in those days it looked really like cool and cutting edge. It just said credits and gave a website address.
Oh, right.
But fortunately, not everyone followed that. But there is, of course, IMDb.
And that would have been early days of the popularity of the internet as well, wouldn't it, really?
Absolutely, yeah. And it looked quite chic at the time.
Well, I never knew that. I was never a big fan of Jam or Blue Jam. I thought it was a bit...
a bit what?
A bit Emperor's New Clothes for me. It was a bit like everyone, it's Chris Morris, it's fantastic. And it was like, it's a bit weak, I thought.
I quite like the spaced out feel of it. I went more for the feel. Yeah, it wasn't big belly laughs. It was uncomfortable viewing and listening. But anyway, we may or may not slab that, since you've queered the pitch already. So, whose turn is it to go first with star rating?
I can never remember who we do. I mean, I'll go if you want Jim to go, or...
I'm going to predict both of us are going to give it 4. You could say I have a bit of an edge knowing what's inside my head,
right?
Occasionally.
Okay. I'm going to give it
am I right?
4.5, actually.
Oh, well, I knew you were enthusiastic. Now,
I loved it.
That is a very generous score.
I loved it. I loved it. I did. I loved it with all my jam tart.
Hang on, I'll just hit it.
Oh, it started again. That's better. Honestly, I did. I loved it. But I think you're going to give it 4.
That's where I've wrong-footed you.
Aha!
Or have I? It's treble think. I think I am going to give it 4. I thought, could I just change to 4.5 now? But I'm kind of committed. No, I think 4. Yeah, I did enjoy it. I don't know. Maybe I'm slightly meaner than you sometimes. I don't know. It's slightly irrational. But 4's a very generous rating. And hey, total 8.5 out of 10 between us. That's not bad, is it?
Absolute
That's
cracker.
Probably a near record, joint record.
Thoroughly recommend, if you, as you said, you started this by saying, if you like Matt Berry, you will love this. And I think that is a really good summation of it, because it is a real Matt Berry vehicle. It will give you your Matt Berry fix, as it were. If you like what he does it in abundance here. But I think it's fab. There's a link actually on the description for all of this, so you'll be able to find it. But it is on Awful if you want to go and you want to go and dig that.
Oh, you are awful.
Oh, yeah, better like you. But there you go. Yeah. So next week's homework, do you want?
Yes, I've got pen poised. That's how analog I am.
I'm talking about analog. I'm going back old school, baby. We're going back to the device without the pictures.
Oh, wireless.
That's the one. And if I said to you, John Finnemore.
You haven't finished the question yet. I am familiar. I don't know how far back he goes, to be honest. I've only sort of caught up with him in more recent times. But Mr. Sketch Show.
Okay. If I said to you, John Finnemore and an airline.
Oh, yes, with Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, yes. And the guy that I can never remember his name, who plays the first officer. Oh
gosh. Well, you're just proving the point now. And the lovely Stephanie Cole.
Yeah.
She of a million things. Great. I don't think she'd mind me calling her an old stager, because it's meant as a great compliment. She's still working, bless her, I think. In Waiting for God, amongst other things.
She played she had a fabulous cameo in Coronation Street as well, as Roy Cropper's mother.
Oh, did she come a cropper?
And do you remember she was Mrs. What was her name? Mrs. She was in Open All Hours, wasn't she? Mrs. Featherstone. Mrs. Featherstone.
That's not my specialist area, but I've remembered now. It's called Cabin Pressure.
Cabin Pressure. Well done. Yes, it is. It's
which series? Which number?
It's John Finnemore's comedy Cabin Pressure about a small airline. Owned by, as you said, the character's played by Stephanie Beacham. I think we should head down.
Stephanie Beacham or Stephanie Cole?
Stephanie Cole. Stephanie Beacham was, what's the name, wasn't it?
I think you need to take the Beacham.
It's a bit like Antonio, what's his name, Banderas, or whoever it was. No, hang on. Who was it you had the other week? Leonardo da Vinci.
Oh, that one, yeah. I couldn't see the bloody joke. His cartoon's hopeless.
I think we should we hit it about middle of the run? Let me have a look.
Middle of the runway.
It did 5. So should we go for Paris?
Is it gay?
It certainly is.
Okay, that'll do.
Series 3, episode 2, Paris. Each episode is named after a destination that they're flying to. That's just at random, really. I mean, there isn't a lot. I mean, we were talking about plots and all the rest of it. I mean, that's kind of all you need to know, isn't it? It's a small airline, and they're the crew and the owner, and that's it, sort of thing. Really, there's not a lot else other than that, really. But Cabin Pressure for next week then.
We'll look forward to it. Thank you for that. Series 3, episode 2. One's hoping it's on BBC Sounds, your favourite app.
No idea. No,
right, okay.
idea. Not the first clue.
Not the foggiest runway.
Not that.
Well, glad you've done your homework as usual. I don't feel so bad now with my lamentable lack of preparation.
Well, I've got it in my own private collection. That's why I don't need to.
Yes. You've also got some furry handcuffs, but we won't talk about those in your private collection.
They never used to be furry. I think I left them in the drawer too long.
Oh, dear. That's just mouldy, like most of your material. Right, on to the social medias very quickly. We are at Comedy Slab, Kel Shock, on Twitter and indeed at the Facebook page. Do join us and follow us. And we try and... we've got busy lives, each of us. He's changing nappies and I'm... changing excuses. Oh, what an image. Good job we've got an E-certificate. That really is... it's not worth dwelling on. Stuff of nightmares. But anyway, Yeah, so we tweet what we hope is relevant stuff, so it is worth looking out for that. We're not just blowing, as 'twere, our own trumpet.
It's not irrelevant, it's a hippopotamus. And don't forget, you can find the back episodes and the front episodes and the side episodes as well on the normal places that you find your podcast, not least Spreaker, which is where they all originate from, and they all head off to varying directions, and you can catch them.
Yes, and do please recommend us to friends, family, vicars, imams, enemies, whoever. So that's how we spread the word. I was going to say something else there, but it's gone. Anything to add, Mr. DeMille?
No. You couldn't just punch me in my chest. My jam tart's gone again, could you?
Oh, and I was going to plug shamelessly plug my own solo project. I'm not nearly as prolific as you and I are together, Shane. It must be you. You're the catalyst that sparks the revolution. Name that song.
Ian Jury,
Starts
What a
the
Waste.
revolution. Thank you very much. Yes, that's the name of my autobiography. What a waste. But anyway, yes, LondonPodcast.net. It's all things London. I mean, you got to have a system, as Harry Hill says, as I'm always quoting. And the latest show, which admittedly is several years old, a little way old, there is part 2 to follow, but it's part 1, it's on consciousness, no less. You'd love it, Shane, because I know you like working your grey matter, and I don't mean your remaining follicles.
That's why I do my yoga on my grey matter. Okay, that'd be. It's always a good listen. I must admit, I do like it. You're right.
biased.
You don't do enough, but then I'm not there cracking the whip, am I? That's the thing.
That's the trouble. Maybe I should get you in as exec. Gosh, there's the thing.
Yeah. Can I just plug my own solo work as well? Every Wednesday,
Yes.
I go and stand in the garden and sing to the birds.
Was it you who sang "I talk to the trees, that's why they put me away"?
Wednesday, 10 till 10:15. You can catch me there.
We look forward to it. And live streamed on Facebook, no doubt, like most things these days. Excellent. I think we'll leave it there before we create any more havoc. More havoc next week. Thanks for listening. Have a good week in the meantime.